Hello, 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 hello. All righty. Welcome, all of you. Once again, we have come to Awaken. We are starting again after a long time. Now, I have gone through few experiences. I just observed because once a fool told me to observe and a wise man told me to observe. So I really observed. And what did I get? Let me share a few experiences, a few things. Uh, And before I start, I can express my gratitude to my friends outside India. They really get it. Four pillars we will talk about: cinema, education, business, and relationships. But if you look into it closely, we have personal relationships, professional relationships. So when we do the work, we have different kinds of relationships, and we know how much importance we should put in each and every relationship. Sometimes we explore, sometimes we do it in a very strategic and planned way. Now the thing is, I'm just testing things out after a long time, but what I'm happy about is cinema is changing again for the better. Now only a fool or a bunch of fools will not be a part of this change. What do they have? তাদের কি আছে, তাদের টুলস, স্কিল সেট কি আছে? Blames and excuses. এবার blames and excuses যখন হচ্ছে, that can only take you so far, because when you are making a lot of blames and excuses, you are actually limiting yourself. And when you have the responsibility of a position from a place where you can guide people, you can lead people, you can suggest things so that people can improve, you have a responsibility, you have some accountability of the position. If you are a celebrity or you are in administration or management, whatever you choose, I mean, we have the overlap, we have a lot of similarities. So, but unfortunately, if you don't get it, then you keep giving those things in the society, and you make a lot of blames and excuses. But ultimately, what is happening? Relationships are getting hampered, education is getting hampered. I mean, hardly there is any innovation, and stagnant or regressive, as I have already mentioned. And I will keep it short. In 30 minutes, I will wrap it up. So, stagnant and regressive. Is that a great life? I mean, you are just existing, you are not living. Rather, you can have more innovative experiences, you can explore, you can be strategic, you can be very planned, you can take your steps with precise goals, and you can take actions. You can do a lot of strategic planning before you do something. You choose your own way, or you do a mix of everything depending on the requirement, because you need to be flexible with the modern life problems. We are living in a modern world, so the problems are not going to be very easy. They are not going to be very, the things you expect all the time. Uncertainty, you have to be ready for. You have to embrace uncertainty. And an artist, being an artist, a creative person, an artist, it's an opportunity for you to play with that uncertainty. It makes us grow. It shapes us as an artist, as an individual, as a personality, as a character. So many ways we can improve ourselves. But let me just talk about a few things, and then I can wrap it up. To make people fools is easier. যদি আমরা মানুষকে বোকা বানাতে চাই, তাহলে সেটা অনেকটা ইজিয়ার এবং খুব সহজ পদ্ধতি। আমি একটা মোল্ডের মধ্যে ফেলে দিলাম, আমি একটা খাপের মধ্যে ফেলে দিলাম। এত বড় একটা ইন্ডিভিজুয়ালের মধ্যে এত কিছু সম্ভাবনা আছে, পোটেনশিয়াল আছে। আই ডোন্ট ওয়ান্ট টু সি দ্যাট। আই জাস্ট ওয়ান্ট টু পুট হিম অর হার ইন আ মোল্ড। তার মানে কি হচ্ছে, ইন্ট্রিনসিক্যালি আমি কি ভাবছি, ইনহেরেন্ট একটা অ্যাটিটিউড কি থাকছে, আই ডোন্ট ওয়ান্ট টু সি দ্য পোটেনশিয়াল। Rather, I'm talking about talents and using the words, but actually, I'm taking people away from the actual definition. And when you are close or closer to the actual definition, people across the world can relate to it. Maybe by a feeling, maybe by an emotion, maybe by non-verbal communication, verbal communication. But the closer you are, the closer you are, people can relate to it. But if you are far away and you are using a lot of persuasion, manipulation, maybe gray games in the name of creativity, actually what you are doing, you are just using the words professionalism, professional, this, that, this, that. But actually, what you are doing, you are taking people away from the actual definition, the understanding of the actual thing. So, languages, because you don't have respect for languages, I'm talking about those people. Those people don't have any respect for language, uh, especially others' language. So, what happens is that becomes a mindset when you practice a lot. You don't respect people, you don't respect other cultures, you don't respect the language. I mean, there is a power dynamics, you play it strategically, that's okay. We all do that in geopolitics and other things. But in creative field, you need to be more empathetic, more compassionate, and it makes you a better artist. It is something you are not doing for someone else. Maybe you are doing it for humanity, but it makes you a better human being. You are owning your pleasures, you are embracing your opportunities, you are embracing your pleasures, you are embracing your experiences, and then people are getting a glimpse of it, maybe through acting, maybe through singing, maybe through other artworks. So to make people fools is easier. You can use all these tools and still can make people fools, or you can use all these tools and use it as an expressive tool that we can do in art. We can create great stories, great artworks. People can relate to it. Universal humanity, they can relate to it. But we try to help people. We did a mistake actually, because in some cultures they don't accept help. They look at it in a very different way, in a very shallow, cheap way. I will mention the term, but still, I can tell you that it's like they are holding something into, I mean, they are restricting a part of themselves only, and they project it in other ways. Sometimes it's necessary because you need to have that, because you never know who is what. But when you are habituated with that, you are practicing it for a long time, so that you are doing these conspiracy theories and all these things. So whoever you meet, you're not getting that artistic experience, because you're continuously thinking what mold to put him or her in, what to do, this and that. So again, it depends on the situation. But what I started with, to make people fools, it's easier. You don't need to put a lot of effort. You can do whatever you want. You can just look at an individual without looking at the potential. You can do this and that. Ultimately, you don't want to see the potential. That is the point I'm trying to make. But in art, if you don't see the potential, then how can we give a new path to the new talents, new artists? We need to give them a stage, a platform, an opportunity. But we talk about opportunities. Again, we are taking people away from the actual definition. How will we do that? It is not something, a wishful thinking. Pragmatically, we have to deal with it. New talents, they should be given opportunities. Maybe you are having works, that there can be workshops, so that they are growing, they are learning, they are realizing things themselves. You're not indoctrinating, you're not using indoctrination. They are realizing it. Maybe you are creating an environment where they can go, they can explore. Maybe you are giving them few suggestions or advice, and they are exploring. So we wanted to make better things, and we wanted them to improve. That is a tougher thing we did, and we will continue to do that. Because if you look at the brand, I won't say brand, whatever we are trying to do, the purpose or the reason why we are doing this across the things, 5 or 6 channels we have, apart from the blogs and books, you will see one thing we are trying to do continuously. If we can contribute to the humanity, whichever way it is, you know if we can show them insights, if we can show them things, if we can show them experiences, so that they can improve, they can develop those skills as well, compassion, empathy, respecting other people, a good attitude towards education, relationship, business, cinema, whatever you call it. We are accepting differences of opinions. So tolerance, one thing we can develop doing this, but that is tougher. You have to do the work. I mean, I cannot spoon feed you. You have to ultimately, you have to do the work. I can give you suggestions, I can give you tips, I can just talk about things, whatever I have experienced, whatever I think others have experienced, whatever I have read in the books, whatever I have seen in live, whatever I have imagined, maybe. It's a mix of everything. We can take the juice of that from life, from people, and then we can do great acting performances. Observing, then looking at people sitting at a cafe. We are not doing shit. We are sitting at a cafe, we are looking at people, the human nature, dynamics, humanity, how they are interacting, how they are behaving. Then maybe eventually we are coming up with a script that is a microcosm of life, maybe a culture, maybe a set of people, maybe a span of time. We can do all these things, right? Nothing bad. But to make people fools is easier. We try to help people. We wanted them to improve. That's tougher. And it is even tougher if they don't want to improve themselves. You understand what I'm talking about? The barriers, psychological barriers, maybe semantic barriers, communication barriers can be one problem. But when they don't want to improve, it's a suicidal thing they have intrinsically. No matter how much you try to help them, they want to go in the downward spiral. So they have maybe few people to look up to. They are doing that. Maybe they have money to show. But ultimately, if you go deeper into those aspects, you will see that they have the suicidal elements and they are propagating those things to the society. I mean, if you are really good with acting, understanding people, then you can get it. But for normal people, for mass, সাধারণ মানুষের জন্য আমরা বলছি, they don't get it, but they just follow it. They think they are following something great. Maybe it's a trend, maybe it's a craze, but ultimately, what they are getting out of it, are they getting money? No, maybe a pleasure they are getting from the games. That's very different from the sexual pleasures you can have on your own. Or maybe you are interacting with people, you can derive your pleasures from them. You can do so many things, and it's a life is too short. You can have a lot of experiences, and nobody is telling you to do something, forcing you to do something. And even if they do, it doesn't matter. You don't give a damn. It's your life. You have to make those choices. Even if they force you, you don't follow. You take your own decisions, but then you take the responsibility for it. I think that's a good way to live life. So, tricks, and what do they mean? If they use the words, suppose relationship and professional, you will see, you will interact. The more you go deeper into the discussions, you will see they are actually taking people away from the understanding, the actual meaning of it. I want to emphasize on this thing. Ghee. I mentioned ghee. Ghee is not for everyone. There is a proverb. It means, high class or sophistication, good education. It is not for everyone. And when you give that to the culture with maybe entertainment or through other things, games or whatever it is, you tell people indirectly maybe that education is a very bad thing, so that you can control people. I mean, people can have the basic education of life so that they can have a better experience. And any person who is in the administration, who is in the management, will love to have that for their own people, right? They would love their people to have a better experience in life. So maybe the training we require, the experiences we require, the education we require, we can go for it. Then if you want to go for a higher pursuit, you can go for higher education, or maybe by doing the practices, by reading, by going through your own path, not through the way of schools. Maybe you are taking your own path, and eventually you are getting there as a human being, as a professional, as an artist, whatever you choose to do, because you were dedicated towards that, towards your chosen endeavor. And whatever came across your way, whatever you came across, whatever came in your way, you learn from it. The good and the bad and the ugly, you learn from it. So it shapes you as a human being. But this mindset is not for everyone. Some people want to take you down, so they are looking for those downward spirals. They are looking for those downward indexes. I mentioned it, downward indexes. Maybe you had a bad experience. They are using as an index, psychological triggers. So they will do those things and they can bring you down. Always look for those relationships. If they are using those relationships who can bring you down, that means those relationships don't matter. If they are trying to bring you down, they don't matter in your life. You can choose better, you can choose yourself. So self-respect, dignity, whatever you call it, you can choose better. You deserve to have a better life experience. Often we don't do that. Often we don't weigh things, we don't look at things in a better way, we don't respect ourselves enough. I mean, we do respect ourselves, but we don't go deeper into those aspects. I matter in this life, I matter. I have so much to do, I have so much to give, I have so much to uh, enjoy, I have so much experiences to have, I have so much to explore. Maybe 10 years, for 10 years I had an experience. For the next 10 years, I can choose to do something else, something different. I'm moving forward, I'm becoming progressive. Innovation, creativity, not just words. We are leading by examples. So that is one thing you can do. But strength is what they fear. When you take those decisions, personal leaderships, when we take those decisions, it's a thing of personal leadership. You take those calls, you take those, you make those choices. Strength, that is also strength, something inherent, something intrinsic. So strength is what they fear actually, and strength is what we are going to give them, what you are going to give them. I mean, if you are looking at these talks on life, if you are going through these talks, if one thing you can get from this is believe in yourself, trust your instinct, believe in yourself, and you matter. You matter in this world. You have a unique voice. Your voice matters. You can give the world so much. You can choose the things you want to do, maybe through writing, maybe through any kind of art form, but you matter. Your voice matters. So but we are not talking about a constant show of strength. Now, people who have been in the business in the real way, I mean, you have the experience, whether you have gone through the things academically, theoretically, or through experience, you have gone through those thought processes, whatever we call it, but actually you have looked at it in a positive way. You wanted to improve, you wanted to grow, you wanted to learn, you wanted to help people, you wanted to reach your full potential, your highest self. So you did it, you loved it, you did it, you wanted to share it with others. Maybe you even if it's better, you have an ambition, you are earning a lot of money around it, that becomes your profession. It's a great thing to have in life. Maybe you're not doing anything for money. I'm saying that maybe you're not doing a single thing for money, but you are doing it because of love and passion, and you are charging for it, you are taking money for it. Eventually you see you are the best in the lot. You are the best professional we have in this particular field. It's a very natural thing, because we you can read the book Flow. People talk about flow and many other things. That's the natural way of doing things. It's absolute truth. When you do that, many people have different paths, different choices, but if you really want to be best in something or excel in something, you really need to love it. I mean, money cannot be a restriction, money cannot be a constraint. If you are uh, limiting yourself because of money, then you are not growing as an individual. And if you don't grow as an individual, how can you give great artistic performances, great artistic creations, right? So that is one thing. So, not a constant show of strength, and life can be really boring if you do that. Because when you do that, actually, I have seen that those things are coming out of insecurities. You have to show that you are strong. Actually, you are not strong, but you have to show that you are strong. I mean, even if you understand the conflict, you can write great scenes regarding that, because that's a great conflict. We all have that. We have gone through the experiences. But we are not desperately trying to prove that we are strong each and every time, all the time. It can be very boring because you are stagnant. If you look at it, you are stagnant. I am strong, I am weak, I know that I have gone through those experiences. I don't need any external validation for that because I have gone through my life taking responsibility. I know if something bad happens, I can come back. I can take the right choices. I can make my life better. I can make my work better. I can do those things. That is also intrinsic, inherent strength. You don't have to show it necessarily, constant show. I am very strong. You know you are strong. You don't have to prove it to anyone. Maybe you're doing it through your work, leading by example. So we are very happy to do so, but sometimes we need to set our priorities because least or no priority things. We have talked about time management, we have talked about priorities. Often we don't look at it in this way that the things we are investing in for a long time, nobody told us that it is of least priority or no priority. Maybe we didn't see something else. That is also an issue because you have restricted options. When you have limited options and restricted options, you don't know what it can be. Maybe it is coming out of potential, it is coming out of vision. So you know that it is possible. You know that this person can do it. But when it comes to creating that environment, that opportunity, you don't know what to do. So you can do collaboration, you can go for collaboration and filmmaking. If I talk about filmmaking or art, you can do it individual, in a very individual way. You can do it with collaboration. It gives us a great opportunity. Maybe some person is getting people together. They can bring people together. Maybe one person is very good at recognizing potential. How can one person guide the other person, or maybe suggest or give advice to reach their best potential? They will do the work. We don't have to do this single thing, but they will do all those tricks and techniques. How that person gives a lot of bad things, bad mouthing, gossiping, contesting for friendship, so that that person speaks something bad about that person. Maybe, I shared a diagram, and I will keep sharing a lot of diagrams. Maybe that person didn't think about the politics. Maybe I'm just giving you an example. Those people thought about the example, so they are giving them an opportunity, and again they are saying something bad to some people. So again the clash happens, relationships get broken, and so many things happens. Again you will see that they are not there to mend it, they are not there to repair it, because they cannot do that. They just want to break it, they just want to destroy things. They cannot build things in a better way. They do the gossip, they do the shallow tricks and techniques. And if you are in trouble, if you are in depression, if you are in frustration, if you are in a moment of sadness, they will enjoy that. And since they enjoy that, they cannot write scenes regarding that. They cannot do great acting performances regarding that. I mean, if somebody is writing it, they might give those acting performances. That is too based on the direction of someone else, because the director has gone through those experiences in his or her life, and that person is guiding this actor. So I think if you understand a bit of it, you can understand a lot of it. The way I am talking about these things, because this is very organic, very natural talks we are doing here. So I don't need to mention each and everything. If you have gone through the experience, I will mention 2 or 3 lines. You can get the thing I am talking about. But if you don't want to get it, you can make a lot of noise. You can make a lot of stupid questions. You can ask a lot of things. Though I don't consider any question as stupid, but I know some people want to do that because they don't want to understand. They want to realize. They just want to create a nuisance. They want to do a disturbance. Now you have time for that. Least or no priority, you can set some time aside for that. When it comes to work, when it comes to your deepest relationships, when it comes to your true relationships, I will mention the word true. You know what choices to make. You don't need to go for any external validation. You don't need to go for any person telling you what to do, the thing, what is the thing to do. what is the right thing to do. And when that person is nagging a lot, that person has a lot to prove. Maybe he or she is thinking about something else. So I have seen all these things, যখন লোকজন এসে বলছে যে ও এটা করছে, ও এটা করছে, তাহলে জানো তো ও এটা করছে, তাহলে জানো তো হি ইজ ডুইং দ্যাট থিং, oh he is, that means this, that means this, assumptions. So assumption and comprehension, if you really comprehend the thing, it can be a feeling, it can be an emotion, it can be a non-verbal communication language, maybe a conflict. If you comprehend the conflict, that's what we do in movies. You go to the festivals, you go to the cinema halls, whatever you do, we comprehend, we empathize, we just have a great experience looking at the stories, looking at the characters, the holistic aspect of it. But when you are making a lot of assumptions and you don't want to understand it the way it is, then you can have a lot of barriers. And if you want to impose those barriers onto someone else, I mean, that can be really pathetic. So that's why, again, differences of opinions. Different directors can have different styles, different actors can go through different processes. I'm not telling something is bad, something is good. Ultimately, when it comes to the work, you can decide whether this is the right thing or not for that particular scene or that particular moment or that particular project. That is something you should look at. But they are not aware of that too, those people, because they don't look into things in this way. If I talk about all these things, maybe some people will enjoy listening to it, but it is not something I am giving as a drug. You just want to have a recreational experience like a drug. You are just having it. The more you can have it, the better high you can get. All these things you can do, but I'm not doing it for that. I mean, if you can really go through a positive change, or if you can find that true aspect. I mean, I can see some of my friends, I can look at some of my friends abroad, uh, when they interact, when they listen to the talks, or maybe when they hear something about me, that I am this and that, the positive aspects, they have a kind of smile. And the moment, it might be of seconds, 30 seconds, 40 seconds, whatever it is. It might be for seconds, it might be of seconds. But in that 30-second smile, I can get it that they have gone through that experience or that feeling. Maybe they get too. As a director, as a storyteller, as an artist, you can have those experiences. I mean, I don't, or we don't explicitly talk about those things. But if you are in an artistic profession, if you respect people, if you understand people, if you understand humanity, if you haven't gone through those experiences, then you are missing out a lot. You should seek those experiences. You should explore more. You should meet more people, maybe interact, or maybe you can have your own experiences the way you want to have it. But ultimately, art gives us that opportunity. There are separations, segregations, that what is better, science or art or science or art. There are debates regarding that, and in some cultures the debate is more prominent. But in the modern world, you go to any good institutions, they will tell you, you can have your scientific pursuits, you can have your artistic pursuits, but you will see there is an overlap. Gradually we can take it to the artistic endeavor, artistic pursuit, because you have been in the profession. Maybe you are doing your doctorate, maybe you are doing your postdoctorate, and then gradually you are going towards that. You have reached in this discipline, you have taken the discipline at such an extent, I mean, at such level, that has become artistic. The great innovations, the great discoveries, whatever we have had, that came through those experiences. You can have it in microcosm, you can have it in macrocosm, then you can relate to it if you are authentic or genuine about those experiences. But if you haven't, you are just using the narratives, the titles, you're playing with the titles or games, you are playing with those things. This person achieved this in this year. You're stuck in this. What was the exploration? What was the thing that came before? There was a debate. Maybe two theories had a clash. Why this theory became the modern one? So many things we can do. Then you can ask your own question. Maybe that theory was better, but that was a wrong decision. So many things you can do. But then you can go for collaboration. You can. That's how we make progress, civilizational progress. But when you do that in a wrong way, then again you are trying to persuade, you are trying to manipulate. So I think we are almost towards the end. I will take another 5 minutes and I will wrap it up. Priorities we need to set, because time management is an issue. How much you invest, that's an investment problem too, because time is a very important and crucial resource. Often we don't talk about it in schools. Then gradually, if you go to the management studies, if you look at life, if you go through the professional experiences, you will see time is one of the most important resources. When you don't have anything, you have time to invest, and what you sow, you reap that. So as you sow, you reap. It depends on what you sow. What you sow with your time. Time is something you can invest. Maybe you are developing your skill sets. Maybe you are expanding your range of personality. How will you do that? You have to make use of time, utilize the time in a more productive way. Maybe you are going through an isolation. Maybe you wanted that isolation. That can be a gift towards you. That can be a gift for you. But you have to understand, in some cultures, that isolation is looked at in a very bad way. You will be looking at people, they don't like the isolation, they will do a lot of gossip regarding the isolation. Don't give a damn about it. You chose that isolation because you wanted to do something. Maybe you just wanted to spend some time with yourself in silence. Maybe you chose to do that. Have that experience. You don't have to explain to anyone, you don't have to prove it to anyone. That moment you spend with yourself, that can be a great experience for you, especially if you are an artist. It is not something bad. Other people from other professions might not get it, but you have to spend those moments if you really want to reach that level. That's something we do, as an artist, as a creative person. So that is not something bad. And you see a lot of narcissistic abuses, and you keep explaining, asking stupid things to do, time pass and time waste. So recognize the intent in the question. The question as it is being framed, the words and phrases, and the intent in the question, or intent behind the question. If you can get that, then you can choose whether to answer or not, or how you can answer that. That is also something you can do in acting or writing or directing. So many things you can do. And misinterpretation can be fun if we are trying to play a game. Maybe for a while we want to have a creative experience. We are playing with misinterpretation. That's okay. Or maybe people who are dealing with politics, they can do it a lot. I won't listen to you. Whatever you say, I will misinterpret it because I want to do the politics. That's another thing. But when misinterpretation is a game in the artistic endeavor, sometimes people do it for competition. But ask yourself, when you are doing it in your own work or in your own relationship, if you are allowing the misinterpretation to be a game, then it is affecting your work. Maybe you are writing and that misinterpretation can become a bad game. Maybe people in your friend circle are doing that. Then you can choose not to invest in them too, whether to have that friend or that relationship or not. Now, I have seen in some cultures, and I will mention that, you will see few people, they will do a lot of emotional tactics and they will tell you that what is the right relation for you to have. And eventually you will figure out, maybe after a while, after doing a lot of time pass and time waste, you will figure out that that relationship was not meant for you in the first place. The more you do the artistic endeavors, you have those experience, the deeper you go into those aspects. And even if you learn from your mistakes, that can be a great experience too. But when you know that some people are playing those emotional tactics so that they want to keep someone in your emotional circle, when you are having a close circle where people are deeply emotionally involved, when you know that those people are intentionally and forcefully, desperately trying to do that, they have a bad intent. They don't want to see you happy. They don't want to see your relationships to be happy. They don't want to see you have a great life experience. I mean, you have seen those people, I think, in your life. We all do. I mean, sometimes I reject them in a very bad way. That's why many people call me a bad person. But I can tell you one thing, their dislike is my achievement. And people who are listening to me right now, they will get it that their dislike is my achievement. Because the moment you have a lot of money, the moment you have a lot of success, they will be coming flocking together. But whether you are doing the things you want to do, especially if you don't have an ecosystem, you are still being the best artist you can be, best in your profession, best in your game. When you have done that, you had put a lot of effort. You should be proud of it. Even if people criticize you for that, they will do that. The mass will criticize you. The people will do that, especially if you don't have money, if you don't have this and that. They will do a lot of things, but that's not your thing. You really wanted to do cinema, you can become best in cinema. You can guide others, you can have a great group where you can discuss different kinds of cinema. When they're in trouble, you can step in, you can give your suggestions, you can give your advice. It can be in any profession. That's how we become professionals. That's how we do our relations, so that we can help each other out in humanity. Those moments, you should be genuine and authentic about it. That is very important. Contesting in friendship, contesting in relationship. I mean, sometimes it is fun when you look at the films, when you look at life, we enjoy those things. But again, I mentioned that thing, friendship or relationship, whatever you call it, you will see some people want you to be with someone. Maybe they have their own reasons, but you don't understand it yet. The sooner you understand it, the better it is, because you will spare your energies, you will spare your time, or maybe you are having a life experience. Because when we do love, we don't think much, we just explode, we just go with it. But sometimes you have to understand there is a threshold. When it is below the threshold, I will reject this person each and every time. I won't even give the damn investment, because I respect myself. I know that if I invest in that person, I am disrespecting myself. So you can have that experience too. And if you achieve that, you are in a better place. You can like meet great people in your life. You can have great relationships in your life, romantic relationships, partners, live togethers, friends, whatever you call it. You can have better life experience, a richer life experience. I mean, that can be success for many. That should be success, because even if you have money, that doesn't define that you are a very successful person. For some it is, but eventually you will go through those moments. If you have both, best thing to have, go through it. But investment, ডার্ট উইথ পারসুয়েশন, ডার্ট, নোংরা, নোংরাকে আমি বলবো যে এটা একটা খুব ভালো জিনিস। আই হ্যাভ টু পারসুয়েট এ লট, বিকজ আই হ্যাভ টু ডু মোর ইনভেস্টমেন্ট, বিকজ নোংরা অ্যাকচুয়ালি ইজ নোংরা, right? Dirt is actually dirt, but I have to sell it as something else, so I have to do more investment. If I show you, see, this is dirt, you will realize that this is dirt. I don't have to do a single investment, I don't have to do much. I will just show you the dirt, and you will understand, okay, it is actually dirt. Maybe a different kind of dirt, but this is dirt. But when you want to sell dirt as something really great, something really this and that, you're persuading, you're doing a lot of manipulation. That means you are trying to sell dirt as something else, maybe far from it, very different from something else, maybe very different from the actual thing. Again, coming back to that, the word and taking away from it in another way, the word and taking people away from the actual definitions. Non-verbal communication, verbal communication. You see what I'm talking about? You look at a face, you look at the emotions, acting, expression. You know that that person is going through this. That person is giving that performance, authentic, genuine performances, great performances we have seen in our lives. But then they are trying to persuade it, manipulate it as something else, taking away from the actual thing. Now the cultural aspects come into place, but again the threshold you have to understand cultural aspects. But I know that that is bad thing, that is a wrong thing, so I won't invest in that. The more you practice, the more you go through those experiences, you get those things. So dirt with persuasion and great acting, you weigh those two things. He is bad and she is bad. Now the game is like that. Suppose I am the person, I am bad. Now if somebody is telling me bad, you are taking the wrong choices, you are taking the wrong decisions. Ultimately what is getting hampered? The acting performances, the directing performances. So you need to focus on the directing performances, the acting performances, or cinema, or the profession. He is bad, she is bad. Who cares for acting? Nobody is caring for acting. That person is bad, and desperately I have to prove that that person is bad. Who cares for acting? I don't give a damn about acting. And the thing is about acting, but they are taking you away from the acting performances. That is something you can look at. Gimmicks, not meaning anything, only emotion. The mass in some culture, the mass is conditioned to that. But whatever I just said, you can relate to it. Tension and relaxation, the grounding exercises, the exercises you do, muscle flexing, doing this different kind of exercises you do as actors or as an artist. Tension and relaxation, two forces of nature. You have the tension, you have the relaxation. So you do the grounding exercises, you do the agitation exercises. You don't have to necessarily stay in those agitated exercises, agitation exercises. You don't have to necessarily stay in it. Rather, you can go towards, this homeostasis, this bliss, that calmness, that poise, that relaxation. You can go through it because this is the time you enjoy the most. For many, that happiness, that bliss. But tension can be a part in life that is making you grow. So you're stretching yourself, tension and relaxation in different ways, as an actor, as a writer, as a director, in every way. You do that. And blame game and responsibility, I already mentioned that when you are consistently investing in blame games, then maybe you don't want to do the right thing. Maybe you don't want to help people, or maybe you don't want to do the right thing yourself. So that's a blame game. And by this, I mean, even if you don't mean what you say, that can be a blame game too. So you're not taking responsibility. So seriousness about the profession. Priorities, again, coming back to priorities. I mean, we are in the entertainment industry. We are supposed to have a lot of fun. But when it comes to profession, we are very serious about it. When it comes to the educational aspect, we are very serious about it. Right? Then we are enjoying, we are having a great experience, we are partying, we are having different experiences. That's okay. We are supposed to have that in our life. Life is too short. We should have our pleasures and pains. But when it comes to work, we are serious regarding that. Professionals, we are, when it comes to education, some relationships, maybe particular few relationships, we can be very serious about that too. You understand what I mean by serious? And then you can have a lot of fun, or you have a lot of fun. Elevated performance, elevated purpose in your life. When you have an elevated purpose in your life, you can do great things. Even if you take a detour, you can still come back. Or you can just exist. Your actions are not aligned with your goals. And how do you know that if you don't have that genuinely? Your actions are not aligned with your goals. So how do you do that? You do the controlling, you do the proper, you take the proper steps so that your actions are aligned with your goals. And the environment can push you towards mediocrity. Some cultures do that, and now the game is like that. কালচাররা নিজেরাও পড়ছে, আর পড়তে পড়তে এমনভাবে একটা এনজয় করতে করতে, হ্যাভিং ফান, অনেকে এটাকে ইউজ করে নাচতে নাচতে পড়ছে। সেটা বলতে গেলে নাচটাকেও একটু ডিমিন করে বলা হয়, বাট এটা হচ্ছে নিজেও পড়ছে কিন্তু অন্যকেও ফেলবে, কিন্তু নিজে পড়ছে এটার মধ্যে কোনো অ্যাওয়ারনেস নাই। অন্যকে যে ফেলবে সেটার মধ্যে যে চটক বা সেটার মধ্যে যে একটা গেমস আছে, অনেকে স্পোর্টসের থেকে এটা পায়, ডিরাইভ করে এই প্লেজারটা। তো গেমস অ্যান্ড স্পোর্টস থেকে এই যে অন্যকে যে ফেলবে সেটার মধ্যে অনেকে এনজয়, মানে প্লেজার সিক করছে। তো mediocrity, the culture can push you towards mediocrity. But I will again say it's not the culture. We cannot blame the culture. It's few people who are actually maybe have the positions or taking the decisions, maybe the wrong decisions, but still they are taking the decisions because of their position or whatever they have, social status. But actually, if you don't understand the essence of it, the group of people, the culture can actually push you towards mediocrity. Then it's a choice you make, sometimes to yourself, that even if they do so, I choose to think differently. I choose to make the right choices. I choose to make my own choices. And you will see people will feel the accompaniment, people will see the bliss in your relationships because they have gone through those experiences. Maybe more or less, some people more, some people less, but they have gone through those experiences. So that's why, I mean, if you have gone through those experiences in a very phony way, then I mean, even if you talk about it with a lot of emotions, it doesn't matter. People will get through. Uh, People will see through it, you know. So that's why we don't like some kind of acting. We don't like. I mean, there's a lot happening in the background, but again, coming back to humanity, the more you understand people, the better it is. Or maybe you don't understand people, but you understand those experiences yourself. You have gone through those things, so you can relate to it. Relatability is one thing you have in art, in movies. So relatability is a very important thing. When you go through a story, you relate to people, you relate to characters, you relate to experiences, and that makes us come together sometimes because we have had similar experiences. But that cannot be the only thing. Sometimes people forcefully come to you because of the similar experiences. Again, persuading and manipulating. You know, I have had this experience. You have had this experience. That means we are similar. Each and every individual is very different, and we should respect the differences. But again, we have the overlaps. We have the similarities. But you take your own choices. We can have discussions. We can have conversations. So enjoying the differences and respecting it, that is one thing. You, and that is not only about the words. You are again coming back to those things. You are using the differences, tolerance, and using the words, and then you are doing something that is taking people away from those. I mean, in art you cannot lie, or in art you have to lie in a beautiful way so that it becomes the truth. You know, so gradually you understand who to talk to and how much to talk. That's an experience in life too. Humility is not weakness. Humility is strength, but to whom you are showing the humility, what is the situation, that can be of learning. Even if you go through a detour, or even if others cherish your detour, you know, you can guide yourself. Satsang, you know, there is a term people use in satsang, shotshango, or satsang. It is meant to do something, not like some monks are coming together. I mean, I am not a monk, but it's not like some monks are coming together and people will try to level me as a monk and do all those things. But I don't consider myself as a monk. But you know, satsang, that can elevate you. The discussions when you're coming together, that can elevate you towards the higher purpose, towards a greater experience. But you will see some people will come to the satsang to do the disturbance, and that becomes their nature, that becomes their character, that is their inherent character. Often we don't see that. Gradually, if you have spent a lot of time with them, people can get that. But you know what to invest in. Reject those friends, reject those people, because they want you to have a bad experience. Deliberately, they want to have that. But if you respect yourself, you deserve to have a better experience in life. So, not indoctrination, some people will do that, but realization. You explore, you make your own choices, and gradually you figure out. Quickly, we'll wrap it up. 5 minutes. I try to keep it short in 30 minutes, but in the next talks on discussions will be in 30 minutes only. Few things I want to mention. I think I have mentioned that. So words and phrases. One thing, a comprehension and assumption. এটা নিয়ে বলছিলাম. Words and phrases. There is a new trend I can see. I don't know whether you can see it in your own culture or in other cultures. People are stuck with the words and phrases. They don't understand the entire thing, not even a sentence. They are stuck with the words and phrases. So again, depending on their assumptions, maybe multiplied with superstition, they are making different misinterpretations. Sometimes they get a professional opportunity to do those misinterpretations. Sometimes they do that. I mean, if you are doing it for politics, then that's a different thing. But if you are doing it to harm the culture or harm the people, then you should be aware. So words and phrases, bits and pieces. And some people do it in one culture and then they go to other cultures, they use the same model and they harm the culture using words and phrases, subsets, bits and pieces. So professionalism, I will end with professionalism because after a long time we have come together and it's a lot of fun, when you go through those experiences. Professionalism, this term, you see people talking about professionalism a lot. If you have gone through professionalism over the years, you can understand what professionalism actually means. But in some cultures or subcultures or in a group of people, you will see, I've been giving you an example and you can relate to the entire thing. Don't improve your skills. Don't improve your skills. Don't practice. Don't go for education. Don't change the ecosystem. Don't go for the innovation. Don't go for the creative experiences. Don't make your art speak for itself. Don't give the audience a better experience. Don't have an experience yourself. Don't have a better experience yourself. All these things, but be on time. So for what? If you want to be on time for what? I don't want to see your face. I don't want to see that face. And that person, whoever it is, that person deliberately wants to show his or her face. And what should I do with it? I don't have anything to do with that face. If it comes to work, then maybe we can find the utilization of the face in casting and acting or whatever it is. But professionalism, so skills, practicing the maybe rituals, practicing the methods or actually the practices, whatever you do, the methods and the principles, the exercises, whatever you do, education you can invest in. But being on time, what does it mean? I mean, it doesn't mean a thing. But some people will do a lot of nagging, they will do a lot of desperation, they just want to show their face, they just want to show their emotions. I don't know if anyone is blaming me for that. You can judge it for yourself. But I have seen few people and I have rejected them in my life. You know what the problem is in cinema? If they become celebrities, desperately they want to show their face to the audience. That can be very pathetic. Gradually they will get the positions, they will take the wrong decisions because they didn't have the experience in a genuine or authentic way. They wanted to have the narratives, they wanted to invest in the narratives. So desperate to teach because of the position. Who is going to evaluate? Even if somebody is telling the truth or telling the right thing, that person is doing a lot of nuisance or disturbance. Position, you have got the position, that comes with a lot of responsibility. But again, I will tell you what I will end with: four things: relationships, সম্পর্ক, education, শিক্ষা, cinema, 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 সিনেমার চলচ্চিত্র, বিজনেস, ব্যবসা। এই চারটে, রিলেশনশিপ, এডুকেশন, সিনেমা, বিজনেস, এই চারটেতে কেন করা হয়েছে? হয়তো পারছে না কেউ কিছু করতে, তা সে পজিশনটা পেয়ে গেছে, তাকে বলতে হবে বা দেখাতে হবে কি। বাট উই আর নট লাইক দ্যাট অ্যান্ড উই ডোন্ট ইনভেস্ট ইন দ্যাট. But in some cultures, if it is consisting of a lot of mass, if somebody is getting the position, কি হবে, taking that advantage, some people may say, especially he is bad, she is bad kind of thing. That is a very, you know, I mean, entertaining game too for many. If your well-being is getting hampered, if your culture is getting hampered, if your profession, if your relationships, cinema, business, education, relationships, that are getting hampered, then I think you need to look at these people. How did they get the position? When they are telling people that people should follow them, whether they really get it or not. Do they really get it? Or, because why I am saying this? I have seen people detesting Juilliard. I mean, many people do that. I have seen many people detesting many great acting schools or actor studio or acting communities for the sake of real, I mean, true communities. They detest, they hate those communities. Yet, when they listen to the term community, it's like a group of people whom they can manipulate. That is why I am saying this. When I say actor studio, when I say a community of actors, a community of writers, many people can relate to it because you have gone through that experience. Again, the genuine or authentic experience. So we can communicate in a greater way, we can communicate in a better way. I don't expect the mass to get it, but at least the professionals should get it. The so called professionals should get it. Otherwise, you will see the wrong choices, the wrong decisions, and a lot of confusion. I don't want anyone to get confused because of me. And if that person is telling it to me directly, I can give a suggestion, or maybe we can sort it out together, or maybe I can show you something or give you something, materials you can study for yourself, so that you can get out of that confusion. I don't want to keep you that confusion because of me. But I know few people, and I have seen it in the culture, that can be even more detrimental. That is even more detrimental, in fact. If you are in confusion, they are enjoying that confusion because you're wasting your time. That's a crucial resource. You are doing a lot of time pass, you're not growing, maybe you're not progressing, you're not becoming creative, you're not having great experiences in life, you're stagnant or regressive, and they're enjoying it, especially in isolation. And that comes from other practices. If you don't know that, you are becoming confused and you think that it's your own problem. I mean, part of it is your own problem, definitely, but confusion to clarity, you can seek that. Confusion to clarity. I mean, if you have too much clarity, that can be a different experience for many. You are not doing things the way you did or used to did. You are not doing things the way you used to do. Too much clarity. But many people do great things with a lot of clarity. They don't know how to channelize those things for that particular work. They have a lot of clarity, but for that particular project or for that particular work, they know how to work with the cast and crew or other people, how to go through the collaboration, because they are focusing on that particular work. Focus and concentration. So don't get confused because of me or my talks. Ask me the relevant or pertinent questions. We can help each other out. But if you want to keep people in confusion, If some people want to keep people in confusion, whether it's me or someone else, and if I get to know that, that might be something really bad. So I will end it here. Thank you so much. In August, we will talk about acting. So I think from 1st of August, we are starting acting in all around.